Oh, look, we're live.
Oh my gosh. Hi, everyone. We are live. It's so exciting. We are here to talk about the month of April and particularly the movies that we watched in the month of April. It's going to be fun. And we'll have the chat room open. So if you have questions for us, feel free to send them by, and you could even do a super chat if you wanted. And so join us. We would love to answer your questions. And I'm film critic Rachel Wagner, and Ryan is here.
Hey, Rachel, and hey, everyone. It's great to do these. I love doing these wrap ups. It's fun to be with Rachel just in general, but it's fun to do these type of Q&A type of things. I don't really do them all that much on my channel because I don't think I really have like enough subscribers to justify something like that. I think, I don't know, but I think when I get to 150, I'd like to do a Q&A or something like that.
Sometimes you can get the questions in advance, which maybe might help a little bit. I mean, sometimes we don't have any, and sometimes we have a lot. It just depends on the day. You never know. But we are always grateful to talk about the questions and to talk about what we've been watching. I really enjoy these too. It's a lot of fun and just kind of relaxing. It's because we hardly get to see anybody nowadays. It's nice to at least have the internet that we can talk over.
Yeah, and as much as we like to complain about how trolls and and all that, the internet legitimately, in the right context, can bring people together.
Yeah.
So at least it
was really funny yesterday. So I I sent out this tweet about how if you're feeling down and discouraged, just remember that Sony Pictures Animation went from the Emoji Movie to, and then I had a picture of Mitchell's versus the Machines.
It's at like 42,000 likes now?
64K likes.
Race the roof. What? My girl Rachel's Twitter famous.
And I just was so glad that I was like a positive about feeling good and don't giving up and whatever. There's like I was a positive tweet as opposed to maybe something controversial. And I guess if you're feeling down, the answer to feeling down is tweet about the Emoji Movie.
Yeah. I mean, there is a lot of truth said in jest, though, and that Sony Pictures used to be like the laughing stock of the animation community. Because Emoji Movie was just hideous.
Yeah.
Like there's no I'm a generally positive person when it comes to movies. I don't dump on a movie just because it's the popular thing to do. That's why I liked Venom from 2018. I didn't think it was bad as people make it out to be. Uh-huh. But Emoji Movie was just unsalvageable. It was the Titanic, but it already hit the iceberg.
The main problem, I mean, I actually think the animation was fine, but the main problem was it was just so cynical about how kids behave, and that, I mean, and especially the boy that has the phone or whatever, he had already gotten this girl's number, but he was completely incapable of talking to her. And you're like, oh, what? Come on. And so if in doubt, we all know now that there were a few Emoji Movie defenders, a few.
How?
But there were a few. There really were. But if in doubt, at least we know that there's one thing that we can unite on. Yeah. We can't unite in politics. We can't unite none of us like the Emoji Movie. 99% of us don't like the Emoji Movie.
And going from the Emoji Movie to literally the next year, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Yeah. It's like a complete night and day kind of thing. It's like going from new Coca-Cola to Coca-Cola Classic in just 1 year.
That's right. That's right. We've got some people watching. It's so great. Kate Cass is there. Hey guys. Hope you had a safe and enjoyable April. I did. I had a really good April. I don't know. How do you feel, Ryan?
Oh, I had a great month. Like this month was just fantastic for me, for not only outside stuff, but on my channel as well. I promised
Mhm.
myself that I would release a video. I would keep to a schedule of uploading videos on Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday every week of April, and I knocked it out of the ballpark.
That's
And
awesome.
I've got a lot of momentum now, and I'm just going to keep coming. I'm actually editing tomorrow's video. Like, I'm going to be finishing up after this. It's AFI project video from Modern Times, so stay tuned for that. And I dropped my first reaction to Whisper of the Heart, which that's been getting a lot of positive feedback. So it's just been great. And I actually took a couple risks this month. I did some videos that I was like, how are people going to react to this? Like, for example, my WandaVision is overrated video. I was honestly surprised that I wasn't ratioed to death, but people were actually like, I don't agree, but you do bring up good points, which is exactly what I wanted from the video. So mission accomplished there. And I dropped a lot of AFI project videos. I made my La La Land video with a lot of fan interaction from the Film Freaks group that we're a part of and just on social media, and that was really cool. So I think April has been just one of my best months for the channel just in general, and it's just going to get better from here. I have a good feeling about that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a huge accomplishment. That's a lot to post in a week, so that's great. And I don't agree with you on WandaVision, but I enjoyed your video, so that's awesome. And yeah, I've had a busy time on both of my channels. My podcast this month. I started my top 50 animation countdown, which tomorrow will be number 20 to 11. So, I mean, Tuesday will be my number 20 to 11. So I've worked really hard on those videos, the editing, doing the clips and all of that. And I feel like my list is really I tried really hard to make it a good mixture of Eastern and Western animation, indie and mainstream animation. And I think it's a really good, solid list. It was difficult to narrow everything down. There were a lot of my favorites that didn't make the cut. I think once I finish, I might do a honorable mentions video, because there were a couple of tough cuts. I mean, a bunch of tough cuts, like Nausicaa. Having to cut that. That was tough because I love that movie.
Oh yeah, that's a fantastic movie. Beautiful. Beautiful.
I was debating between Nausicaa or Princess Mononoke. I don't know. Tough. I still don't know if I made the right call, but anyway, I really have enjoyed doing that.
I have a feeling I know what's going to be number one, and I think that it begins with I think its initials are TLM.
No, that is not my number one. That is my number two. I'll give you that.
Oh wow! Oh,
yeah,
I was.
What's the movie that I talk about more than any other movie?
Oh
yeah.
that makes
spoiler
sense.
alert.
that makes a lot of sense.
Yes. So, and I actually let me find that. I figured out what all the data was for my list, my top 50. Let me find that. 1 second. Darn it, I should have had that ready. I don't have it ready. But anyway, we got a lot of comments. Let's go through these really quick. So, Lost in the Real, Sean is there. Hi.
Shout out to you, Sean. Thanks for watching the Whisper of the Heart video. I gave your comment a heart. I don't know if you saw or not.
Yeah. He's moving right now, poor Sean.
Oh boy. Domine patre ad fili et spiritu sancti.
That's right. I never want to move again in my whole life. I hate it so much.
I mean, I've lived in the same house since 2004, so maybe I'm just like out of touch with the whole moving thing, but I've lived in the same house through my remainder of elementary school, all of middle school, all of high school, and all of college. So
it's just so exhausting.
Yeah.
It really is.
Also, shout out to everyone who watched my Movie Nerds Club video for Best Picture winners. That video was more popular than I could have predicted. And watching the others in the Movie Nerds Club, I was like, yep, my list is definitely the oldest by a significant margin.
Oh yeah. Mine only had one modern one, and then one from the 80s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So my list, my top 50 animation has 8 stop motion films, 32 2D animation films, and then 10 CG. So it's pretty good. And then I have 9 anime, 9 Disney, and 5 Pixar, and 3 Don Bluth.
That's a pretty fair mixture right there.
Yeah, I think so. I really tried to make it even.
If the animation genre were trail mix, then that would be it.
Okay, that's true. Yeah, Dumpster Fire. We all agree it was not a good film.
Agreed.
Okay, because if you follow enough about film on the internet, you realize that everything has defenders, everything has its fans. If you ask enough people, that is very true. Yeah. And so, love what you love. Hey, if you love the Emoji Movie, then go for it. Nothing wrong. Whatever. Yeah, it's all good. I'm just saying,
it's a free country and all that.
If you're gonna have a tweet that gets 64K likes, then it's good to have it on something that most people agree with.
That's true.
Hey. All right. Aaron Johnson says, hello, Rachel and Ryan. When I saw the trailer for the Emoji Movie when it came out, I was just as confused as the next viewer, but I'm thinking it's a fun movie despite its flaws throughout. There we go. Person who liked it. Go for it. And all right. So then we have, okay, I already read that one. Okay. And then Oscar153, personally think that phase 4 of the MCU has been really disappointing so far. WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier has some great moments, but unfortunately didn't do much for much.
Now, I have not finished Falcon and Winter Soldier yet. I really have not had the motivation to do so. I will get to it hopefully sometime this month. But and it's kind of sad because I like Sebastian Stan. I think he's really underrated as an actor, especially in the MCU. And Anthony Mackie is one of my favorite supporting actors going today. I love most, if not all, of the stuff that he's been involved with. So I guess, and I liked Wyatt Russell in Overlord. I recommended that for Hidden Gems. So I have no problem with the actors involved. I hear the stuff about Baron Zemo dancing, and I don't know if I want to see that because he's my favorite. He's my favorite MCU villain. Like, he literally tore down the Avengers because he wanted to see his family again. And he was mad at them because that was never going to happen. Like, say what you will about Thanos, and there's more than a few compelling arguments for Thanos being the greatest, and I'm sure objectively that is the case. But no other MCU villain hurt the Avengers more than Zemo. Zemo set the table for Thanos to just run wild across the earth and destroy half the universe. Like, the Avengers was built on a lie, and Zemo exploited that lie for all it's worth.
I hear you.
To my dying day.
I hear you, but I feel like he did it in a really annoying way. It's not
family. What did you want?
I mean, I just would never put him up there with Loki. I mean, Loki to me is by far the best. I mean, he's barely a villain anymore, but whatever.
He was a villain that was it was like pro wrestling. He was so popular that they had to turn him babyface.
I love Loki. I'm like obsessed. I don't know. I mean, I'm not as big of an Infinity War fan as some people, so I'm not as like in love with Thanos as some people, but I certainly worked in Endgame very well. But my favorite, I mean, Loki is my favorite by far.
Subjectively.
What's that?
Subjectively.
Of course. But also I just love him so much. I don't know who my favorite MCU villain is. Their movies aren't about villains; they're about heroes. So a lot of times they're just kind of
Malekith, isn't it?
Yeah.
I feel so sorry for Chris Eccleston. He got a raw deal being Malekith.
Yeah.
Like, they could have hired anyone, and they instead hired Chris Eccleston. Like that, I feel so bad for him. I really do.
Oh, I know my favorite. What am I saying? Killmonger is my favorite. I thought
Okay,
he was great. And
that's fair. I can definitely back Killmonger because
Loki, Killmonger. I guess then I'd say Thanos. I think I liked Ultron pretty good.
Ultron was super underrated. The whole Avengers Age
Mhm.
of Ultron movie is super underrated. Its only real sin is that it's grouped among the first Avengers and then Infinity War and Endgame, the latter which is the highest grossing movie of all time. One of them has to be off the podium, and that's Ultron, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, they spend all that time at Hawkeye's house. That gets a little boring to me
Okay,
in the
that's
movie. Yeah, that gets slow, and then you have all the Hulk and Black Widow stuff, which I didn't love. So that's the flaw with that movie. But I love the party, and then once it gets to the stuff in
Sokovia.
then it's pretty good. I like that. But I think actually, if I was going to say an underrated MCU villain, I think I might actually say Ghost in Ant-Man and the Wasp. I thought that she had like really compelling motives to do what she was doing, and I thought that I was invested in her performance. And I don't know, I just think that that was better than people gave it credit for.
People dump on the Ant-Man movies a lot. I like both of them. Like I think most of that is due to the fact that they both came after big Avengers movies. Ant-Man and the Wasp was the first MCU movie after Infinity War, and people just had thousand-mile stares over the ending of that movie. And here comes Ant-Man and the Wasp, and people are like, "What is this? Like, what is this?"
Yeah.
But I like both of these movies. They're very imaginative.
Yeah, me too. And I mean, I just love Paul Rudd so much. Ever since Clueless, he's been one of my favorites. So, but I do agree that with Awesome Guy 135, that Falcon the Winter Soldier was very disappointing. I thought that evidently they were going to have a whole plot line involving vaccines and this super virus and stuff, and then they obviously had to remove all of that, and it felt kind of gutted of any kind of like weight to it. And they tried with the Flag Smashers, but that just fell flat to me. I was not invested in Carly and her story. I didn't really care about that, and it felt like they were every episode was sort of people moving from room to room to room and talking, and that's not a story. like there wasn't like a story that I was invested in. And like, yeah, maybe WandaVision had its flaws, but like I was invested of what was going to happen.
The one thing that I will say about WandaVision is that there was a genuine mystery to where where is this going?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like the payoff, but I liked that they tried to tell or plant the seeds for what was possibly going to happen. Just with Falcon and Winter Soldier, I'm looking at the rest of them and I'm just like, what's the point? And even in the first episode, where there's the whole plot line of Falcon trying to save his shrimp boat or his sister's shrimp boat.
Yeah.
And she chews him out because he was off fighting a being who destroyed half the universe while she's had to deal with, I want to say racism, I guess. I'm sympathetic, but I mean, it's like, priorities. Like Thanos is like way up here, like, and Thanos doesn't discriminate. That's all I'm saying.
And I was not happy with how they resolved the John Walker thing. I think the Falcon and Winter Soldier should have definitely been 9 episodes because we needed more time. Because he basically goes from killing. Oh shoot! I shouldn't have said that. You haven't watched it. Sorry, spoiler alert.
No, I didn't hear that.
Okay, he basically goes from doing something very bad to being supposedly redeemed in like 1 episode. It's not enough, like at all.
Yeah,
he's a horrible character. I hated him.
That doesn't sound like nearly enough time.
No, absolutely. And so I really think the show only had 1 good episode, and that would be episode 5. And that's just because I really enjoyed seeing Sam train. Because Anthony Mackie is a very handsome man.
If the 80s have taught us anything, it's that training montages are always awesome.
Yeah, and then this one doesn't disappoint. You'll enjoy it. So, Let's see some more comments. KK says, also, in my opinion, most underrated MCU villain, Justin Hammer. Sam Rockwell stole the show, and I really hope they come up with a reason to bring him back one day.
Well, I mean,
Iron Man 2 shout out.
Well, I mean, he wasn't killed. He was just seemingly led to prison, and a lot of crap has happened in the following years since Iron Man 2. And Sam Rockwell's stock has only gotten higher thanks to movies like Richard Jewell. So I'd love to see him.
Yeah, he won an Oscar.
That's true. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, hey, I'd take it. I mean, they brought back a ton of people for Spider-Man: Far From Home, which kind of irritated me the way they did it. But maybe for the next one they could bring back some of the villains. They're bringing back evidently a bunch of the heroes, so that could be interesting. But WandaVision is miles better than Falcon and Winter Soldier. I haven't even bothered to finish it.
That's what I've been reading online.
Yeah. And I wasn't sure if it was just because I was so tired watching it at like 2 a.m. every Friday. But nevertheless, it wasn't great, I don't think. Let's see. KCast says, I honestly loved Falcon and Winter Soldier. It dove more into Sam and Bucky as characters on their own and not just Cap's pals and other reasons. But that's just me. That's so cool. For me also, Sharon felt very flat. I did not. Did they think that we're like super big fans of Sharon Carter? I mean, who cares about her? I
mean, I liked her scene in Civil War where she delivers the iconic line, "You plant yourself like a tree and say, no, you move." Like, I like that part.
I guess, but I don't really like it in Civil War because I like Cap and Peggy. I don't want him kissing her niece. That's weird.
Oh, well, I mean, in Wonder Woman 1984, Wonder Woman 1984, Wonder Woman imagined Chris Pine at face on another dude's body. So if we're getting loosey-goosey with those rules, then in for a penny, in for a pound.
Like, he could be with other women. Why does he have to be with her niece? Come on. But anyway, I think that Sam's story arc is the strongest part. And so if you go in watching it, just kind of focus on that, then I think you'll enjoy it a little bit more. I felt like they kind of forgot about Bucky about halfway through, and we didn't really see all that much with him. But Sam, he has a speech at the end that he gives, which is very effective, and so that worked. It wasn't like a dumpster fire. It's not an Emoji Movie or anything. Like, I didn't hate it. I just was disappointing for me.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's talk about some other stuff that we've been watching. So, my most exciting thing that I watched this month was Mitchell's vs. the Machines. I just loved it. I loved the animation. I loved the characters. I loved the story. It's super funny. It was great. And I watched it and I just thought, who can't relate to this? This is so easy to relate to, this family and the relationships. And it was just really, really great, in my opinion. I will be shocked if it doesn't end up on my top 10 of the year.
Yeah, this is a movie that I've just heard. I can't escape it. I can't go on Twitter without seeing something about this movie, and it's getting me to the point where I'm like, in my new release roundup, I said I wouldn't review streaming movies, but I think I'm gonna have to make an exception for this.
Yeah, I think so, because it was going to be in theater, so it's not like it was always destined for streaming. So I think that it should count.
Yeah. Okay.
I would. I think you should see it. But
yeah, I do think that I will.
Yeah. Then the other thing that I saw was The Iron Giant on the big screen. I did a private screening with my friends, and it was a really special day. I got to see my cousin, who I hadn't seen in over a year, and that was very meaningful to me. And it's just such a lovely movie. It's beautiful animation, beautiful characters, beautiful story. It's coming up on my list. It's yet to be on my top 50. So that tells you something.
Superman.
Yeah.
God, yes. I love The Iron Giant so much. It's fantastic. And just thinking about like, I think maybe with the exception of Tomorrowland, Brad Bird's reputation has just been nothing but quality throughout his entire thing. Both
Yeah.
Incredibles movies, Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol, the best one. You heard me.
Mhm.
Uh,
My
the
favorite
Iron,
as well.
the Iron Giant. Like he just has like almost a sterling reputation. Tomorrowland, it had a good idea, but then got lost,
Agreed.
got high on its own supply. But other than that, like Brad Bird has just done no wrong for me.
The problem with Tomorrowland, at least for me, is that it was very repetitive. It has the story of George Clooney, little boy, with the robot story, and then you have the story of Britt Robertson and her, and they were both very, very similar. So it's just like they should have just picked one and done the movie about either the Britt Robertson character or the movie about little boy George Clooney.
Yeah. I will give credit to Tomorrowland. Its teaser trailer is fantastic. There's something about Disney and their teaser trailers that are just fantastic.
Yeah.
I love their teaser trailers more than the trailers themselves.
That's true.
One of my favorite trailers of all time isn't even a trailer. It's a mini trailer for John Carter, a movie that nobody really saw, but I remember just loving this teaser trailer because I love the combination of the footage they chose and the song that they chose. I listen to that song all the time. I know it by heart. And I love Willem Dafoe's line of, I didn't think anything new could come into this world. And just get goosebumps just thinking about it. And
Yeah.
the movie, I like it, but I get why people wouldn't like it. But I love that trailer. I think it's
Mhm.
great.
Yeah, and they've had some really great animated trailers. I mean, The Lion King is kind of legendary.
Oh,
That
yeah.
doing that opening song, that really, I mean, whoa, it just made everybody super hyped, hyped. And the Zootopia trailers were really great. Those are some that stick out. But here we got some thoughts here. So both WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier are just okay, in my opinion. It's
They're
very
just
fair.
okay.
Very
They're
fair.
just okay.
Invincible is a better superhero show than both. It has better writing, characters, and story. I have heard so much about this show.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I am going to try to watch it this week. It's hard for me to fit series in, but I've heard so many people tell me that it's great. I know it's an R-rated show, but still, as somebody who covers animation, I feel like I really better watch it. So I'm going to try this week.
Yeah, my friend Tim, who lives in Maine, hi Tim, if you're watching, has been on me like, you need to watch Invincible, like yesterday. And it is like, okay, I'll get around to it.
And here he adds on to it. There's a great new animated superhero show called Invincible on Amazon Prime. It's very bloody and violent, but a unique take on the superhero genre. So there we go. Yeah, that will be fun to binge.
Yeah,
And
I think Amazon is slowly becoming like the new anti-hero home. You got Invincible and you got The Boys. Next thing you know, they're going to do like Why the Last Man or Preacher or something crazy like that, like Scalped.
Is Umbrella Academy, is that on Amazon or is that
Netflix? Is on Netflix.
Netflix, okay. All right. Kate says, she says, Mitchell's vs. Machines has been dominating my social media this weekend. It's nuts. Yeah, 64K nuts.
Same, Kate. Same.
Yes. Aaron Johnson says, The Iron Giant is a fun movie. Brad Bird is a genius. The voice cast choices are great. Yeah.
Yeah. Whoever hired Harry Connick Jr. to voice Dean needs a raise because I love Dean. He's one of my favorite like side characters. I love his intro to like the Iron Giant. He's like walking outside and he's like, oh, and then Hogarth's like, no, don't eat him. This is Dean. He's a friend. And the Iron Giant just holds him upside down. He's like, Dean. And Dean's like, it's such a great scene. I love it. Yeah, and then the next scene, he's like, so where did this? And his hands shaking like a million miles an hour. He's like, so where did you find this thing?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just such a sweet, lovely movie that like earns its emotion, like it doesn't try to kind of manipulate you to agree with them. It just builds characters and you become invested.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. So cases, since we just had finished Infinity Train campaign this week, have either of you seen the show Infinity Train? It is fantastic. If you have HBO Max, I cannot recommend it enough. There's another show that I have been meaning to watch. I think they're on like third season or something, 2, 3, I don't know, a lot. And so, yeah, it's so hard to fit in shows, but I have heard great things about it.
I've seen this hashtag. I had no idea what it was for. So apparently it was for a show.
Yeah, at first I thought it was something to do with Infinity War or something.
It's like, yeah, we already finished it. Unless there's like a Russo brothers cut of it, and then they're like, oh no, we're starting this crap again.
Well, we had fun this last month with doing 2 weeks of I pick 5 movies for you, you pick 5 movies for me. What did you think overall of that experience?
I thought it was great. You know, I something that I never do because I don't really have a ton of friends who are into movies. Like, I think, Rachel, you're about as close as I can get. And there are a couple of others, but they only recommend like new stuff, like mainstream stuff. And I get around to it eventually, but I don't really have any friends who are like, you should watch this obscure little rom-com from 2006 called Something New that I've never heard of. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And it's actually quite pleasant. And it's been more so than that. So I thought it was fascinating. And it was also half the fun, like throwing you several curveballs like Apocalypto. You have my respect for sitting through that. and other movies like that. A super underrated part of our podcast is when we give each other stuff that we've recommended in the past. And we don't do it enough because if we do it every time, then the novelty will go off.
Right. Yeah, you want to save it for every so often, and it takes a lot of time to watch 5 movies in a week. So it's a challenge, but it was really fun, and yeah, that was definitely a huge out of my comfort zone to watch Apocalypto, but I'm glad that I did. It definitely is a very unique film, and something that I'm glad I've seen.
Yeah, last time it was Night of the Living Dead. Now it's Apocalypto. I can give you something challenging like Hellraiser or something.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. Which
Hellraiser
one out of the 5 I gave you, do you have a favorite that you like the most?
You're probably gonna love me for this, but Kim's Convenience. Yes. I thought it was great. I like Mr. Kim. He kind of reminded me, the whole show kind of reminds me of All in the Family with Archie Bunker and Edith Bunker, though Mr. Kim is definitely like tailored for more modern sensibilities. That's all I will say.
Yeah.
But I like it from what I've read, it's going to be kind of sad that Mr. Kim and Young apparently aren't going to reconcile, which is going to be very sad because I'm immediately like, come on, guys, like the logical conclusion is for them to have like one final, like we may not agree, but we still love each other kind of thing. At least Last Man Standing did that, but apparently not.
Yeah, the finale was better than I expected. I don't know if they kind of maybe knew and just didn't tell the actors or what, but it wasn't 100% what I wanted, but it was better than what I feared, if that makes sense. I was just afraid it was just going to be like X and it's over and no conclusion at all. And so they did have a moment where they're all eating dinner and there's a toast. And so there was like a little bit of a feeling of finality, which I appreciated, but I just love the show so much. And it feels wrong that I finally find out about it and then it's immediately taken away from me.
Yeah.
But I love the show so much.
That's how I found out about Breaking Bad. I found out about it literally in the middle of the final season, where it was like, I think it was like, I can't remember the episode name, but it was like the second to last episode before Felina. And I wanted to watch it, but I'm like, well, I might as well watch the rest of it before I get up to there. And I am so glad that I did.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about what we have coming up on our channels. I think that would be fun. So I am going to finish up the top 50 countdown. Got 2 more episodes of that to go, and then maybe an honorable mention. And then I also am starting Muppet May, which I'm very excited about. And I'm going to be, it's a bit more, I would say, more of the more obscure titles, because this is my 4th year doing it. So I've done most of the big name Muppets movies. But we're doing this week, tomorrow will be my review of Labyrinth, which I hadn't seen for a long time. And so that was fun to revisit. And then we have the Frog Prince with starring Kermit that I don't think I've ever seen. So I'm excited to watch that. We have A Muppet Family Christmas, which is the only Muppet movie that includes all of
Muppets, Fraggle Rock, Baby Muppets, and Sesame
everything.
Street characters, right?
Yep, it includes them all, and Jim Henson, is in there.
Jim Henson literally is like, "Oh, aren't they having fun? Like, come on, dog, let's finish cooking." And it's like literally a 1-second thing, but it's so cool. Like Jim Henson looking at all of his creations in one room. It's awesome.
Yeah, I really love it. So I'm very excited to see that. And I always, anytime that I get to watch a Christmas movie off season is a win for me. I love it. And then I'm going to watch Abby in Wonderland, which is a Sesame Street movie. It's really more of like a show. It's 43 minutes, so it's not like a full film, but I thought it sounded fun. And then I'm watching The Tale of the Bunny Picnic, which is very obscure, but it's got your Bean Bunny, super cute, and I'm excited to watch it. So yeah, that'll be fun. And then in June, I have my teen movie month. So that kind of allows me to watch a little bit more mature movies that I wouldn't normally suggest for family movie night. But I have currently planned, I have High School Musical 2, Love, Simon, The Sister of the Traveling Pants, and Can't Hardly Wait is my plan.
Yeah, I remember watching High School Musical 2 the night it premiered. I was a theater kid, and High School Musical was like our religion, like basically. And I'm 35% kidding, but because myself and my theater friends, we were like hanging on every word. We had a party. Like that's how invested we were.
Yeah. Oh, I remember my younger sister was super, super invested in it. And I like them. I'm a defender of the DCOM anyway. And I think High School Musicals are some of the better ones. And I figured it would also be good because we have High School Musical, the series coming back to Disney Plus. Perfect. Right. So we have, yes, Rachel, bring on the obscure. Woohoo! I expect your comments on my Bean Bunny review. And then question, have you watched Logan yet? Highly recommend it. I have not, believe it or not. And I need to eventually.
She needs to, because Logan is unbelievably good. This is basically one big thank you to Hugh Jackman for having to put up with basically all the backstage crap that was going on with the X-Men at the time, and pretty much all of X-Men Origins Wolverine. Deadpool with no mouth. I will say no more.
Yeah, I just don't like super bloody movies. So that was the turnoff for me. But I did just watch Mortal Kombat, so I'm like in that space, I guess. I normally wouldn't go to a movie like Mortal Kombat, but I really wanted to support the in-theater screening for the critics. And so I went, and it was interesting. Interesting film. You saw it, right?
Oh yes, I did.
Yeah.
I'll save my thoughts for the new release roundup, but I thought it was a mixed bag.
Yeah.
It had its diamonds, but you had to wade through a lot of stuff to get there.
Yeah, that's basically how I felt. I was kind of on the edge, and
this strange phenomenon of people who are like, just let people enjoy the movie for what it is, and there's this like, this movie is not meant for critics; it's meant for the kids who grew up playing the originals and the original video games on like the NES and all that. And I'm not discounting that at all. I'm friends with one of those people, and he's one of my best friends. But I just but sometimes I gotta call a spade, and that I just thought the movie was with moments of whoa, and
Yeah.
then whoa, and then literally exactly that.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm happy when anybody enjoys a film. It doesn't matter to me what it is. That's great. Congratulations. That's awesome. But somebody's asking my opinion and what I thought of it, and so I have to give it, And if you don't tend to agree with me as a critic, then find a critic that you like and that tends to agree with you. And there's nothing wrong with that. I have no problem with that at all. So
the one thing I was happy about is that I'm just glad it didn't turn into like something from Uwe Boll, like Alone in the Dark or House of the Dead or like Warcraft, aka Insomnia Cure. And it was
Warcraft.
It was at least there was at least genuine effort put forth in trying to give agency to the video games and the lore. I liked that. I liked the spirit of that.
Yeah. Agreed. So let's do a couple of these favorite questions. And if you have some that you want, we got one comment here. Kate Cass says, strangely, High School Musical is one of the few trilogies that gets better as it goes on.
Yeah. Because I think High School Musical 3 is the best of the series, and I'll die on that hill. Like, it's the most ambitious. It got a theater release, that's probably why, but it deals with the heaviest stuff. It's got the best songs. I could talk about High School Musical 3 forever. It's super underrated.
Yeah, I mean, I really, like I said, I'm a DCOM defender. I like the Teen Beach movies. I didn't mind the Descendants movies. I mean, they're for teens and they're fun, and that got good choreography and dance and music, and I don't know. There's some of them are bad, but I think that overall they get more hate than they deserve, and they're TV movies. You
can't go wrong with Kenny Ortega as the
choreographer. I enjoy him. All right, so let's ask some questions here. Favorite questions. Oh, and we got another recommendation of Infinity Train from Sean. I need to get on that. Yeah. Which one do you all think I should watch first? Infinity Train or Invincible? Put in the chat room.
They both start with N.
I know, but I think Invincible is only one season, so maybe it'd be easier to kind of pump out. I think that Infinity War is multiple seasons. All right, so let's see here. Which is your favorite Harry Potter movie?
7 Part 2.
It's a good one. That's in my top 3.
I not only do I have very fond memories with it, I went to the midnight premiere, and I have a poster up there. You all cannot see it, but it's up there from when I went there. They had like the kind of giveaway posters, I suppose, if you want to call them that. And I have it framed, and I look at it all the time.
Yeah, that one's really good. I mean, I feel like they kind of saved all of the cream filling for part 2, and so part 1 is not my favorite. But yeah, I think it ends in a very satisfying way. And
they shouldn't have split that movie into 2 parts. It was done for monetary reasons.
It never works, in my opinion. I've yet to see it work. The putting it into 2 movies. So my favorite Harry Potter movie is The Order of the Phoenix. I know that's probably controversial, but I just really like Dumbledore's Army. I think that's a really good kind of story, and you get to see Harry lead and become stronger. I really like Umbridge as the villain, because one of the problems that the Harry Potter movies have is that most of them, up until Order of the Phoenix, don't have a villain. Like the Voldemort is talked about but never hardly seen, and so there's no real like villain, except for maybe you have these Defense of the Dark Arts teachers that are just kind of cycled through. And I think that it's nice in Order of the Phoenix that we have like a real villain who is such a passive aggressive, horrible villain, and there's a lot to say about what happens as they start to take away people's rights, little bit by little bit by little bit in the idea of protecting them. So it's my favorite.
The actress who plays her was in Downton Abbey. I can't think of her name right this second. I'm looking.
Yeah, the Imelda Staunton, I think is her name.
Imelda Staunton. There you go.
Mhm.
When I saw her in Downton Abbey, the movie, I was like,
Oh yeah, I forgot she was in the movie.
And the reason why is because of her performance in Order of the Phoenix.
Yeah.
I thought it was great, her performance, but I hated every single time she was on screen, which meant she was
Yeah.
doing her job.
Right, exactly.
And she was doing it well.
Here's a tough question. Next question. What is your favorite cartoon cat?
Oh, Tom from Tom and Jerry.
Yeah. I think I'm a more team Sylvester. Although I do love Lucifer from Cinderella. That's up there. Especially the fact his name is Lucifer.
Well, I have a lot of nostalgia for Tom and Jerry. I grew up watching the Boomerang channel, Boomerang from Cartoon Network, all the time before they made it into a streaming service. But
yeah.
But Tom and Jerry was on all the time, and there would be these New Year's Eve marathons called Tom and Jerry Slam Fests. I would watch them for like 4 or 5 hours conservatively, and I do not regret it, not for a second.
Yeah, they're really fun. I enjoy that. I also, what was the one that I like? Gigi from Kiki's Delivery Service.
Oh,
that's one of my favorites.
I love him. Like I just watched Kiki's Delivery Service for And I Finally Watched, and literally whenever Gigi was on there, I love this cat. I want him. And I love the part where he finds his likeness on a mug and he's like, "Hey, Kiki, it's me." Like, I don't know why it has no context with the story or anything. I just love that part. Like his just joy of finding a cat on a mug.
And if you watch the dub, because those early Ghibli films, they were very well dubbed. They put a lot. John Lasseter and the team put a lot of effort into making them very quality dubs. But they have Phil Hartman as Gigi, and that's just great. So
top shelf dubbing.
So Kate Cass says, I don't know if we can answer these questions in the chat. Please do. But I'd be remiss if I didn't shout out my favorite cartoon cat, Top Cat from Hanna-Barbera.
Yes,
underrated classic.
I love Top Cat. That show was so great. Top Cat, the most effectual Top Cat.
I have to admit that Hanna-Barbera in general is one of my blind spots when it comes to animation. Like I just all of their big brands I have not seen a ton of, and I need to work on that. Like I haven't seen hardly any Scooby-Doo. I haven't seen hardly any Flintstones. I don't know. It's just all their brands I need to see more of.
People sleep on Hanna-Barbera, and I don't think deservedly, but once upon a time, yes, Top Cat. But Hanna-Barbera was just like the kings of the world at one point. They brought the Flintstones, which was one of the first, if not the first, primetime animation shows ever, and that show is awesome. The Jetsons as well. Top Cat, like everyone's been talking about, but also smaller things like Johnny Quest and Samson and I can't remember the other one, but I mentioned Johnny Quest, but the Herculoids, and I could just talk about Hanna-Barbera for days, and Yogi Bear, not the 2010 movie, just bad, but like the original cartoons, which were awesome.
And they did Charlotte's Web as far as movies go.
Oh yeah, they did.
I love that. Really well. That made my top 50 countdown. All right, what is your favorite TV sitcom?
Ooh, does the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air count?
Yeah, absolutely.
Then the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah, everybody knows my favorite is The Nanny. Is my favorite. I have a whole podcast about it. I love The Nanny, and it's been so fun since it's been on HBO Max just in April. There have been a lot of people that have been watching the show, rewatching the show, watching for the first time. It's been fun to see people's responses because it's just a great show. It has one of the best pilots ever. It's so good.
And you putting it at one has nothing to do with the fact that you have now met Fran Drescher. What?
Twice. Interviewed her twice. So we're basically best friends. Yes. I know. I need to get in on Hanna-Barbera. It is, like I said, major blind spot of mine that I need to correct. Let's see here. I'm actually working on a Hanna-Barbera related video at the moment, so it's a group that is really fresh on my mind. Awesome. I'll have to check that out.
I will be on the hunt for that when it drops, because Hanna-Barbera, I have no other Hanna-Barbera friends to talk about it with, and it was such an integral part of my childhood. I remember watching Boomerang all the time, and I remember the blocks like Boomer Action, which was on like during late nights, and they'd show like Birdman and Space Ghost and Johnny Quest and Space Pirates and oh man, it's just so fantastic. I just randomly look up like the old bumpers and intros and outros for Boomerang because they're all on YouTube, and it just is like, this is my childhood right here. Like I know all this programming schedules by heart. I even look up old schedules and like, okay, 9 a.m. was Flintstones, 10 a.m. Tom and Jerry, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, tag us, Kate Cass, when you post that video, because we definitely want to watch it.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm so thrilled the nanny's getting more love. Woo-hoo. It's so good that my favorite sitcom would have to be Third Rock from the Sun. That one was very nutty, very different. And I don't know if it's streaming anywhere, but I feel like it's kind of forgotten. But it's very funny. I mean, incredible cast: John Lithgow, Jane Curtin, oh my gosh, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Kirsten Johnson. Very funny cast. So, all right. What is your favorite funny movie?
Oh,
I'll go first because I know. Mine is definitely Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
That's a good choice.
That's my favorite. It's so funny. It's so ridiculous, but it'll always make me laugh. And I don't know. I can't think of another movie that is just so quotable and so funny consistently.
My favorite would have to be the Blues Brothers. I'm actually doing a video about it later on in June, so I'll be rewatching it. But it's one of my all-time favorites. That's insanely quotable as well. We'll never get caught. We're on a mission from God, and it goes on and on. There's car chases. There's song numbers. It's the greatest SNL movie ever made, and like literally nothing else is competition. Maybe Wayne's World, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you better think what you're trying to do to me.
Rest in peace, Aretha Franklin.
Oh, so good. Yeah, that's a good pick. That's very good. All right, let's do two more. What is your favorite chick flick?
Well, since you're the queen of them, you go first.
Okay. My favorite chick flick, I don't love that phrase, but because I think it's usually sort of a term of derision. You know, it's usually like, oh, but it's my favorite, but I think You've Got Mail is probably my favorite. I just think it's so funny. I love Nora Ephron's script and the way that she kind of goes on these little sort of diatribes and then, but then makes you laugh. Like when she's talking about, getting the perfect order at Starbucks. Now it gives your life a sense of purpose and just a lot of really funny jokes. The supporting cast is so great with Dabney Coleman, Gene Stapleton, Dave Chappelle, incredible supporting cast. So funny. And then you have just, like I said, the great script that just makes me laugh every time. And then you've got Meg and Tom. I mean, they're the best. So it's so good.
I think mine, and let me ask this before, does The Princess Bride count?
I think it can count. I'll let it count.
No, I don't want to get it in on a technicality.
Well, it's more of an adventure, but it's definitely a romance, so. Like you'd say, what's like a traditional romantic comedy, like 10 Things I Hate About You or Legally Blonde or something like that?
Would The Proposal count?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Then The Proposal.
yeah. Proposal's pretty fun, definitely. Very good. All right, one more. Let's see here. What is your favorite Pixar movie?
Oh God. Well, I did a Pixar ranking at the start of the year, and my number one is Toy Story 2, and my number one will remain Toy Story 2. I am more than willing to hear compelling cases for, other Pixar movies, and that's totally fine. But I think Toy Story 2 is not only the best Toy Story movie, but just Pixar's finest work. It takes what it does in the first Toy Story and takes it in directions that plants seeds for number 3 and number 4. The cast in here is excellent. Tom Hanks, I mean, we all know who he is. Tim Allen, one of my favorites. Kelsey Grammer as Stinky Pete is awesome. Joan Cusack, When She Loved Me, never fails to get me emotional. Like, that's just such a fantastic song by Sarah McLachlan. And the whole thing with the whole parody with Zurg and Buzz Lightyear and the whole Empire Strikes Back thing never fails to make me laugh. It's just a great movie that I think as Pixar has gotten better over the years, Toy Story 2 has gone under the radar. And I think that's sad because Toy Story 2 has only just gotten better and better, in my opinion.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. It's a really, really good sequel. And I think my favorite is Up is my favorite. I love Up and I love pretty much everything about it. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's not as good after the first 10 minutes. I don't agree. I like following Carl.
The scene where Carl finally gets to Paradise Falls, gets everything in his house in order, sits down in his chair, and he's like, I'm here. And then he starts thumbing through the book. And then he sees like their first date, their wedding, romantic dinners, them painting the house. And then the final page where it says, Carl, my adventure's done. Now it's time for you to have one.
I love that so much.
God, that is amazing.
Yeah, because people don't realize, it seems like, that the opening married life segment is sad.
It really is.
It's not happy. He feels like he let her down. He didn't give her the life that she deserved. And he's living with all of this regret, and it's weighing him down. And that's the whole journey of the movie, is for him to get to that point where he realizes that she really did love him all along, and that he can then move on and kind of have a new life with Russell supporting him at the end. And I don't know, I just love it. I think it's so beautiful, and I don't know, I love the animation. I love the music. I think it's great. I know a lot of people don't like it, but it's my favorite. And let's see. Kate Cass says, favorite Pixar movie, Finding Nemo, but Toy Story is a very close second, like mine, Eyelash. Close. Yeah, my top 3, and you'll see in the countdown, but I have Up, and then the original Toy Story, which I love, because I love stories of friendship, and this buddy story I think is so well written, the script. And then Inside Out. I love Inside Out. I think it's great. So, yeah. And so there we go. That is all the questions for today. And we're so grateful for all of the people that have been making comments in the chat room. It's been really fun. Thank you so much. And Ryan, where can people find you?
They can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at RyanCam20. Then there's, of course, my YouTube channel, which is just called Ryan Cam. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, I made a promise to post a new video on Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I lived up to that, and that is the schedule that I'm going to keep. So today I dropped my first reaction to Whisper of the Heart. That was really cool. And then tomorrow I'll be dropping an AFI project video for Modern Times, the Charlie Chaplin film. Let me look at my schedule. Tuesday the 7th, the 7th, whatever day that is, I'll be dropping an AFI project video for The Wild Bunch. And then this Friday, I'll be dropping a video for The Apartment, the Billy Wilder movie. Mm-hmm. And then this coming Sunday, I'll be I'll be doing a big video on The Fifth Element because May is my birthday month. May 14th is my birthday. And so Fifth Element came out or around my birthday. I can't remember if it was actually on the day or around the day, but Fifth Element is one of my favorite movies, and so I'm going to make a big video about it. And there's tons of other content coming your way. If you haven't checked me out, please do.
Yeah, definitely. Y'all should subscribe. And yeah, I have fun stuff coming up this week. We have my next episode of Female Film Critics Speak Out that I'm really looking forward to with Jen Johans and Allison Rose. And so you're all going to enjoy that. That's on Wednesday. And then we have my Labyrinth review on Monday for Film and Movie Night, Muppet May. Tuesday is my next 20 to 11 on my top 50 animated countdown. And then Friday we'll have Hidden Gems. I don't think we decided what we're doing this week, did we?
We'll make a decision.
Yeah, we'll let y'all know. So make sure you're following us on social media. And then make sure also you're following me at Hallmarkies Podcast. Got a lot of fun stuff coming up over there as well. And so check that out. And thanks, everybody. And we'll talk to you all later. Bye. Yeah.